Lots of people joining our secret society. I'll put a link in the description to get yourself one of these top secret hats. So the last video, there was a little bit of audio problems, but it only affected certain cell phones. That's what I could gather. Only certain cell phones didn't have audio. But if you plugged in some headphones, you could hear it just fine. Today's video is the last video in the flood series before we start the next project. So if you've got questions about hose spigots or hose bibs or silcocks, not sealcocks, but silcocks. I don't know why people been Googling sealcocks for some reason. We did go over this extensively in the live stream. It was a private live stream for Patreon members only. To answer the most commonly asked question of that video is why water was not coming out of this unless this was turned on. And that is because the shutoff is in the back. It's not here. It's back here. So unless it's open, water isn't going through here. I've been posting some videos on Instagram. It's a very, very busy time of the year for home repairs and home remodeling, and I have not been able to really keep up with the videos. A lot of the projects I'm working on I just got to go get the work done. But I may pull out my cell phone and record a video for you guys to see on Instagram. So go over to Instagram. Follow me there. We got over 12,000 followers on Instagram right now. Interesting little project that I've been posting from water damage at a different house. All right, that's it.
On with the video.
This fan's been in this hole for about a week. It's really hot out, really dry out. It's pushing hot air in through the wall cavity, and the window right next to this fence here is blowing air out of the basement. So we got a constant circulation of real hot, dry air. It's time to take this thing out. Now first I got to shut the water off to the house and drain all the water out. Back down in the bathroom, floor looks really dry. Only had a few drips out of our toilet water shut off. And right now I'm going to shut the water off to the entire house. They don't have an isolation shut-off valve for just that hose bib. The water's off to the house, and I've relieved quite a bit of the pressure inside. We're just going to let this run here. Trying to get as much water out as you can. So here's the replacement, and you can see right there is the rubber seal that shuts it off, but it's spring loaded. So unless there's water pressure on there, it's not going to push into this. So what I'm going to do is take the insides of this out, which will take that out so I can get more water to come out. And when I use the torch, I won't melt the rubber. Never thought I'd be using German pliers. Sometimes you got to pull on these quite a bit to get them to come loose. But this is the inside. This is what it looks like. So there's the rubber seal is inside this one. This is different than the replacement one. There's out with the old. You notice I don't have it on very high, especially because didn't have it on very high. Didn't need to have it on very high because I'm working in this kind of tight space here. Now this is not a lesson on how to sweat pipe. I'm sure there's videos out there on how to do that. You can watch me do it. So when you're sweating this on there, one thing you don't want to happen is solder to go inside of this and get on the mating surface of where this rubber gasket is going to smash into. Down in there. Some of you probably wonder if it's comfortable on these rocks. No, it's not. It's not comfortable on these rocks. There. Put my flashlight in here. I can see it. There we go. That's good. Looks good. Tight joint and no solder got on that seat. Now, while I'm waiting for this to cool down to put this inside, you don't want that going in there and melting. Here's a close-up of that freeze break. Doesn't take much for that water that's left in here to expand and crack that copper open. Oh, nice and cool. I'm just threading it in. There's threads on the back here those thread in, and then I'm just going to thread this packing nut on and snug it down. Oh, you bitch. This is all set to get put back together. Not much to see in there. One thing you want to make sure is that this is not resting on the gas pipe, but when it comes through the hole, it'll be held up about this high and you won't have it resting on the gas pipe. The water's on, the air's bled out, tested for leaks, and it's time to put it back together. Now, I'm not putting the old insulation back in, although I probably could, because it's been sitting out in the sun and it's nice and dry and there's no mold growing in it. But I got new insulation, and the purpose of the insulation is to reduce drafts. It's not like pipe insulation to keep that pipe from freezing. It's just to insulate this whole cavity here to prevent air from flowing through any holes from the garage, from the outside. I mean, there's penetrations all throughout this house here. And those drafts, just that, you know, you get cold wind blowing in there, will freeze pipes. So I'm going to pack a bunch of new insulation in this cavity. You can use faced or not faced. This was the cheapest roll that they had. At least I think it's the cheapest roll. It's of R13 craft face. Pink Panther insulation. Lovely. I'm going to pack one more chunk just to kind of pack right up against this board here. So. Yeah, nice. So one thing I'm going to do is caulk this all in. I want to make sure there's no drafts. Overkill. Well, some would say it's overkill and unnecessary. And I would agree with them. Would agree with them. When it has to do with water, I don't take chances. Especially freezing water. I'm going to leave this gap here. I cut this edge with a circular saw. I'm going to put a siding band in. And I'll show you, there's siding bands all over the place. So I'll show you what that looks like. Tasty. Smart. We'll see. Looks like I could put a new one in there. It's putting in a new rubber O-ring. That's it for this video, and that's it for this project. You're probably wondering, what about all the carpet in the bathroom? Well, that will be another project. That'll be the tile portion of it. But as far as the water leak and the break, the freeze break, that's all fixed, and you can get to putting tile on the floor in the basement. All right, that's it. Goodbye. Share the video, like the video. What else? Share, like. Oh, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Goodbye.